So first of all, welcome. I'm very happy to be here. It's an honor for me to be here and addressing you. I think it's a privilege. As Monica mentioned, this is the first session of the series that we're going to have, and we hope that in the next one we can do more hands-on. Since what I'm going to be giving you, as you were able probably to see in your handouts, a little bit theoretical, and we're going to divide the session a little bit, half for 40% theory and then 60% practical stuff. And hopefully we'll see you in the next session. So before we start, I have some surveys here, but I think there's people that have read a little later. So let's see. All of you come from, how many of you come from public schools? Can you please raise your hand? Public schools, we have 4, okay, 5, here we go. How many of you come from private schools? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, 6. And then what about institutes or language centers? Very good. Okay, great, very good. So most of, okay, very good. And all of you use technology in your lessons, yes? You use technology to some degree, yes? Who would say they use a lot of technology in your classes? Lots, overwhelmingly. Yes, okay, very good. So hopefully this session is going to bring, some insights into what's going on in our country and hopefully something useful as well. So what we're going to do first is just situate ourselves, like give you some background information about access to ICT in our country or information and communication technologies. We're going to take a brief look. It's not going to be extensive. It's not going to be a lot. Just a little bit of what's going on, what is our current situation. For the people that come from public schools, you probably know more about it than I do. Then we're going to look at the model for adding technology into our English lessons, just to make it a little bit principled and sort of like have a backbone. And then we're going to go over the tools, okay? So even though there is more theory at the beginning, we're going to try to go over that a little fast, okay? All right, so let's start with these definitions. I have these 3 definitions of technology. So let's start by turning to our partner and asking your partner or discussing together which of these definitions would you say is the best for technology. Or if you have, or you use another one, if you think technology means something else or something broader than this. So let's just take 1 or 2 minutes. Ask your partner which of these definitions would be the best for technology. Okay? So just very quickly, ask your partner, please. 2 minutes. Could you ask your partner? Would you mind working in your Okay, great. Thank you so much. So to hear your participation, we can use a microphone, right? Yes. Okay, thank you. That was nice. I was able to listen to some of your ideas. So, anybody would like to say something about this? Which one would you say is?
We were talking, we said the second one, and then we said the first one, and we said all 3.
All 3.
So a little bit of all 3.
Okay, a little bit of all 3. Good. Thank you. Thank you, Kimberly. Any other one? Another one who has another idea? Or maybe you have one of your own. Say, no, this is not good thing. I have one better. Everybody? Okay. Maybe let me choose someone then. I'll choose my victim. Let me see. What's your name? Yeah. Yeah, oh, great. I like your name. So, Diana, tell us, what about you when you were discussing with your partner?
at the beginning we're thinking the same. We choose the second one, and then we say maybe the three of them, you know,
of each one. Okay, perfect. So that's the idea. It's all of them combined and perhaps something else, no, that you have in mind in the way that you use the practical applications that you have for technology. One thing that struck me particularly was this one, of solving problems, which we have every day in our classes, right? And we can resort to technology to help us. Now, so thank you for that. Let's continue then onto our country. Would you say Peru is a technological country? Do you think technology and Peru go hand in hand? Are they in tune? No? They try. They try. They are trying. You see the efforts being made, yes? Well, let me just give you something very quickly. According to Moody's, you've heard of Moody's, the rating agency for economic performance? Yes? Yes, you've heard. Okay. So Moody's rated Peru a long time ago, back in the time of Alan Garcia, ineligible. We were not eligible as a country to do business with other countries. The reason why was because we did not pay our debt, right, external debt. But now we can. We have, as a country, we are able to do that. So much so that now our rating, according to Moody's, it's A3. A, if you're a teacher, A means good or bad. Pretty good. Yes, pretty good. Now, normally when a country is doing well economically, it has money to invest, right? How much money do you think of at the GDP, which is our Producto Bruto Interno? How much of that money goes onto education and technology? How much do you think goes? How much in percentage, for example? 5%. 5% more? 3%. 10%. 0%. Nothing. Okay, so according to the World Bank, we are here. We're here, which is 3.5%. If I'm not mistaken, the red one. Yeah, that's 3.5%. That was 2015. And since then, according to the minister, they have added a little bit. It's been sustained. I mean, it's been sustainable. They have added a little bit of our GDP onto education. And maybe you have heard, we have seen some projects, right? Have you heard of some projects that Peru or the Ministry of Education has embarked on? Who can tell me any project of education related to technology? Boscaran project, very good, with a computer. Another one? Yes, Peter? Educare, very good. Any other one? Any other project have you heard of? No more. Okay. Yes, Educare, Boscaran, and then there was the project One Laptop Per Child. Have you heard of that? One Laptop Per Child with the green laptop that went to the mountains. Eureka, have you heard of Eureka? The fair, the International Scientific Fair?
The name of the project is Peru Learns English.
Peru Learns English, for example, Emprendimiento Digital, have you heard of that? Some teachers go to these short talks and they are like more or less like this. They receive information about technology and they are trained in tools and methodology. Okay. But most of you are familiarized with this one. Yes, this is the one that's probably, you use that one in the public schools now. Yes, very good. Okay, so even though we have that, then let's take a very quick look. This is not a statistics class, I promise. So very quickly, just to let you know what's happening in our country, according to INEI, 92%, as you can see here, 92% of houses in Lima or in Peru, sorry, have access to some form of communication and information technologies. So we are doing better as a nation also, not only the country economically, but we also have more access as per household. However, this one here from Instituto Nacional de Estadística show that in Lima Metropolitana, 57% of people have access to internet and 1.7 in rural areas. So it's very, very, very little in rural areas. Okay, now in this survey of INEI, there was this question that was asked to find out who uses the internet more, young people, teenagers, or children. What do you think is the answer? Who uses young people, teenagers, children? Who uses young people? Young people and teenagers. Okay, so there is not much difference in age, but the results are Young people, they are in 80%. If you think it makes sense, no, because they go to university and they have to do a lot of research. So they use internet more. Okay, and finally, supposedly this shows that we as a country have more access to internet, and more students are using the internet. However, when it comes to public schools and private schools, the perception is different. So let me ask you, let's see, you, honey, what's your name? Yes. Stay. So if I came to you, for example, I was conducting a survey, and I asked you, Madam, can I know your opinion? How advanced or far behind do you think public schools are with regards to technology? What would you say? Public schools are advanced, behind, very far behind?
Consider in some public schools in Lima, yes.
They are advanced.
But
Okay.
in rural regions, probably no.
No. Okay. Okay, alrighty. What about you, sir? What's your name?
Marco.
Marco.
Yeah.
Marco, what would you answer? Would you answer the same?
Public schools, yeah, really far.
Behind or advanced?
Far.
Far behind. Okay. So we have these results. It's 55% of people believe it's far behind. 18% believe it's very far behind. Is it the same for private?
No.
No, right? In private is the opposite. Actually, 62%. The perception here is that private schools do a lot better. Only 16% believe it is behind. So that brings us to the idea, right? That there is a difference between. There's a difference between public and private. Exactly. There is a difference. Unfortunately, the digital divide is present and is very obvious in our country. So, in this case, then teachers in these sectors in public schools, what can they do? Have you heard of any initiatives that have been, done or taken place to help these teachers in public schools with regards to technology, with regards to English? Have you heard of any projects, any initiatives? What is being done to bridge the gap, to create more equality, or to give these people more access to technology, more access to internet, or more access to English? Nothing? No?
I know they have
Very good. Some schools have virtual classrooms. That's true. Any other one? Do you know anything else that takes place in the Okay. Yes. Movie Star also Fundación Telefónica, right? They also have projects and they go to the. Sorry. Yes.
At the Correa Escolar Completa school, they have 2 extra
Yes, very good. And then English. Yes, thank you. Very good. Very good. So yes, very good. So teachers have been helped with the help. Have been helped with by the government. 2015, around 5,720 laptops were incorporated to different schools. I don't know if you heard about 88 teachers going to Arizona last year. Yes, you heard about 6 teachers going to Scotland for the ISFO to improve their English. Yes, did you hear about it? But 6 teachers going, is that significant? 6 teachers going of all the divide that we have, it's not enough. So the last thing that I want to bring about is 6 teachers going to Scotland, right, to improve their English and come back and provide better English teaching to their students. It's not enough. And the results from last year, as far as the level of the English in our teachers, was more or less evaluated by the Common European Framework. And A1, A2 represent what? The basic, right? And intermediate. It had B1, B2, intermediate, or independent. So our students in general from public schools should be at what level when they finish high school? B2. They should be B2. And the teachers are supposed to be in what level? C1. C1. Exactly. However, according to the survey, teachers are most of them A1, and according to the survey, it was about 3,000 or 4,000 teachers. So it wasn't that, maybe the number wasn't that great in the sample of the research. So then there is a lot of emphasis now. There's a lot of emphasis on trying to increase the level of our teachers so that we can have our students in public schools and in general, students with better English. So this is a no-brainer. I know the answer is kind of obvious, but let me ask you, honey, what's your name? Jocelyn, yes. Why is it so important to have our students reaching a B2 level at the end of high school? Yeah, that's good. So one idea is that to have our students leaving high school being able to communicate. That's one goal, right? What could be another goal, honey? What's your name? Patty, what do you think, Patty?
For them to get scholarships.
Exactly, further their education. They can get a scholarship, and then when they come back to the country, what are they going to do with that? Get better jobs, maybe impact society. So the idea is that we broaden our vision. You know? As English teachers, we teach English, as true, but we can also have a social impact if we teach our student to speak better English. That student can actually go further his education with a scholarship, come back to Peru, have a social impact, and that little person you taught eventually can impact a small portion of society. So, so this is something that came out from the United Nations, the correlation between better English and better quality of life. In different countries, this was evaluated. Better English equals better quality of life, and also better English equals better income. So of course we want better income. That's true, but that's not the only motivation we have, right? We want to have students who can speak better and of course improve their lives and improve our country. All right. So technology can help us, right? Technology can help us in these problems that we have as a country and of course in your lessons. So the first thing that we need to do when we think about technology, we look at our students, is to examine our students' needs. Yes, you look at them and see, this student is lacking in this. So what we're going to start out is with the handout you have. The handout you have. Yes, okay, very good. In the handout, we have the first part. Let's interact a little bit one more time with our partner. Okay, so since many of you actually use already technology in your classes, then this is a time for sharing, okay? The person next to you might learn from you, or you might be able to also learn from the person next to you. So in the first part, it says, yes, complete the chart with information about your students' needs. What have you used? How have you used technology to cover those needs? Or maybe you have heard or seen things but never tried them, or feel tempted to try them but not sure. So let's take 2 minutes to complete maybe 2 of the rows, 2 of the boxes, so that when we can share with the person next to us, or maybe in the group we can also share. Yeah, let's complete that. So what do you think would be those needs you have? Yes, very good.
So we use a lot of audios. We have the use from native speakers mostly.
Okay. Yes, particularly because of Cambridge exams have British accent. And that's very, not very unfamiliar, but it's harder.
It's harder.
Yes. Very good.
It's really used for girls.
Websites,
Yes.
YouTube videos. Videos, okay. Those contain a lot of information. YouTube videos and some website. Great, thank you for that. Anybody else here into Cambridge preparing? So, that's preparation. Okay. Thank you. Any other one? Any other person who would like to share? No? So Veronica, you can choose a color. What's your favorite color? Yes, red. Red. Okay, so we have 2 winners. What's your name? Oh, what's your name? Beatriz. Beatriz, will you share with us, please? What did your partner tell you, or you can tell us about your own experience? Mm-hmm. Mhm. Okay, let me break them.
Five many different words with a name. Survey.
You use crosswords and you get them online. Yes, you use the crosswords online. Okay, very good. So that would be a way to you create your crosswords, or you just you create them. You find them, okay, and then download them. Okay, great, very good. How many people here use crosswords too? Crosswords. Yes, one more. Okay. Sometimes you use them. Okay, great. So more or less, three people here use them, and they can be practical as well. So another one. One more person wants to share. Another, yes.
Apart from vocabulary, students also need more speaking ability, right? And in that case, I was talking to my partner about Kahoot, which is an app, right? Well, you can create your own Kahoot as a name.
Yes.
You create a quiz, and the web page gives you a code, so you can ask your students to, previously, right? You can ask your students to download the app on their cell phones, and they access by entering the code, so they can answer questions, or you can answer quizzes. Also, if you want to increase vocabulary, you can upload a picture, right? So they can answer in well, we use projectors in the classes, so you can project the web page and also the name of the winners. And that means they are so motivated. They're playing, right? But at the same time, they are acquiring vocabulary, and also they are discussing with their partners. So also they are speaking, right?
Yes, very good. So it promotes a lot of
Yes.
yes, communication and interaction. Very good. So Kahoot for vocabulary practice. Thank you. As well as for more. Very good. Thank you. That was very nice. Great. Anybody else? One more? We have two for vocabulary. Is there any other area? Jeopardy? Yes. Jeopardy. So tell us about it. How do you use it?
Even vocabularies,
Any other? Just for vocabulary. Okay, so you use it to reinforce the vocabulary. And you work as a class, no? So as a whole class activity. Okay, very good. Kahoot, it gives you the chance to make it more personal. Because you see the participation per student. Jeopardy is something you can do as a whole class. But in this particular presentation, we don't have Jeopardy. Maybe we can include it in the next one. Yeah, that's good for games also, no? For bringing interaction in the lesson. All right, anybody else? Last chance. Anybody else?
You can use Mentimeter too, right? I think you can work with Mentimeter for speaking. You can get your students in groups, and also, they also have to access by a code, but you can work as a group, and you can. I think you can apply Mentimeter with more advanced students, so they can start discussing. So more not only focusing on vocabulary, but also in speaking. And as a teacher, we can give them like prompts and if they are not ready to discuss in pairs or as in a group. So that would be a great tool too.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Thank you. So it's spelled
Mentimeter, American meter.
So something like that. So I'm not sure. I haven't used it, but that sounds very good as well.
Yeah, you make presentations.
You can make presentations with them. Great. So some of the things that you have put here are more or less here as well in the PowerPoint. So let's see. So hopefully you will also find some useful things here besides or apart from what you are already doing or using in your lessons. Alrighty, so let's just start with technology helping us to as learners. We ourselves as learners first. So some things that you as a learner, you as someone who uses English as a foreign language, you want to improve your level. What do you do to learn English as a teacher? What pages that you use? Do you have one go-to page that it's like you love it because it helps you in your vocabulary or in your own pronunciation? Yes? Podcasts.
Podcasts are very good. Teachers can do pronunciation, intonation. To go further, different topics. So that's and also the use of the online dictionary, which provide us with all these British and American pronunciation. I think that we find difference.
Yeah, very good. We have Cambridge dictionary. You use Cambridge or which one?
Cambridge or Loudline.
They provide both. Very good. So podcast then. So do you think it's possible with technology, if you're anywhere in the world, you can learn a language? Yes. To a A2, B1, B2 level? Yes, it's possible. Okay. So there are many, in the internet, there are success stories with people that have started with this. Have you heard of Duolingo? Yes. Yes. Many students that have no money to go to a language center go to Duolingo and get the basics. And then after that, they go to web pages like this one. Have you heard of EnglishClub.com? English hyphen, yes, you have English. Okay, so just let me show you very quickly. Okay. So many students, like just as a success story, there are around 1.65 million people that have learned the basics with Duolingo and then go onto websites to learn the basics of grammar. Something like EnglishClub.com is great because it provides the grammar foundation. So if you notice that you as a learner have a lacking in a particular area, you can go to these web pages and improve. Go check all the explanations and go to the exercises, go to the grammar exercises by topic. And of course, like Karim mentioned, if you have advanced learners, you can refer these pages to them for their autonomous learning. So for example, let's say your students have a need in, what do you think, let's say, Veronica, then what is one area that your students have the most trouble with when it comes to grammar, for example?
Grammar.
Yes.
Could be the prepositions of time adding on.
Okay, so that's at the beginning then. Okay, prepositions of time. Okay, very good. So then you can go into one of these web pages, find information, or find as much as you can about prepositions. And if you're preparing someone for an exam, that would be helpful. It's overwhelming sometimes when you see a lot of this information. But then as a teacher, you can go through it first and then see, how your students can use it. Alrighty, so then let's see where are we? Okay, and then many people that have that don't go to language centers, they just use their laptops and go to web pages like italki or Berkeley. Have you heard of italki? italki. No. Okay, italki is for people that are interested in expanding their pronunciation or their level of English with native speakers. And so, if you go there, you will find tutors for any language that you want to learn. And of course, those tutors will charge you a fee, a small fee, if you are interested. The advantage being that they are native speakers, right? You can get a lot of good exposure to the language. So, okay, so let's say you want to improve your English and you see the teacher, Chris, $90, of course, $23. But of course, there are teachers that you can find for less. It's like eBay, sort of. Yes, but what is interesting about italki, what I like particularly when I logged in, is that I can become a tutor too. I am a native Spanish speaker, as you are. So if you want to make a little money also on the side, you can upload your credentials there, and you could become a tutor. The interesting thing is that, as some of you mentioned, is that being connected to people, all the people around the world that want to learn a language, motivates you. It makes you an autonomous learner. And that's great. You can pass that skill on to your students and tell them, here, I have improved my English doing this and that. Why don't you do the same? So you will be a good example for your students if you go online and improve, expand your learning and improve your English. So going back here. So going back here, very briefly, before we move on, let's just go into this chart at the back. I know I tend to speak a little fast, so you can raise your hand and say, Diana, I did not get that. Say that again. So what we're going to do very briefly again is just go over I have mentioned 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, up to italki. The questions are, will I use it to improve my language skills or my teaching? Does it seem useful for my students? What skills does it target? You don't need to write in this case because of time constraints. It might take us longer than we have planned. So let's just discuss with another partner, okay? And another partner. So let's change one more time. Let's see. Would you mind working with her? So let's just switch a little bit. Can you work with the person behind you? You can work with her. Can you work with the person behind you? Yes. Thank you. Can we change? Work with the person behind you. Work with her. Only up to it doesn't get too further. Les digo por acá. Hello. Yes. Can you see me? Can you see me here? This camera. This camera. Okay. So hi guys. So we're here in this section. This is a back of your PDF. So we are working on 1, 2, 3. The first 3 boxes we have just covered very rapidly, quickly, what they are and how they can be used as a learner if you want to improve your English level. So the questions are if you will use it for yourself in your teaching, if it seems useful, and what skills you target, what skills you think can be enhanced. Okay. I'll check the chat. Okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, guys, thank you so much. Thank you, your last discussion. Sorry to interrupt. But you might be lost. Maybe during the cookie where we can keep on getting to know one another. It's really neat to feel the energy of teachers, exchange ideas. So we are in the chart, and then what was your name again? Beatriz. Beatriz was the last victim. So would you choose somebody then in the audience to continue? Maybe you can choose a color that you like. Green. So let's wear some Karen. Right? Okay, so Karen, one more time. Maybe you can tell us. We just worked on the first three. Duolingo, the 2 pages, and iPhone. Maybe you can refer to what your partner said to you.
We were kind of agreed that Duolingo is the app that our students use the most. Actually, they have mentioned that they were using that app before to me, but I didn't really pay attention to it. I thought it was just another app for learning, right, languages, but many of them have mentioned that. It's something that they do on their own. As I was telling her, sometimes when the students receive their scores in an institute, right, they receive their scores and they ask the same questions every month. What can I do to improve my English? What can I do for the grammar, speaking, etc. So I knew about English Club before and other web pages like English exercises, right? So I give them as an idea of that they can use these web pages to improve, but actually using my own, I have.
Okay. So for reference for your students, it would be great.
Yes, on their own.
On their own. Yes, exactly. So the interesting thing about Duolingo is that it has incorporated gamification, which is gaming. Yeah, you gain points, you get bars, you get a lot of things, just like in a game. And what is interesting is that somebody mentioned that they're Italian, right? Italian, or the basics of Italian, the basics of German. You can learn any language actually. No? So if you haven't used it, if you haven't mentioned it to your students, it could be a good idea if they are in basic levels. Karin, it's your turn then. What color do you like? You like? Okay, and you looked at him.
Yeah.
So, Marco, then would you mind?
Well, I was mentioning to my partner, I would probably tell my students to use Duolingo just because it's pretty basic. I used it once, like way back, and I remember it's just pretty much vocabulary. Like it'll tell you how to say this, and you have the options. So I'll probably tell that to my students to use Duolingo. And the other two I haven't used it yet, but I'll probably use Italki. I talk to improve my monthly income.
Yeah, exactly. Some teachers do it a lot, and since there are people from all over the world, you can actually work. For example, you can work very early in the morning. That's great because there are people in Asia, for example, that for them it's the evening. So you can in that way make extra money. Yes, that's good. The hour difference is great for us because we can teach when they are not working. Okay, great. That's a good point. Anybody else that would like to share something? How useful you think they are, or maybe how you might use them for your own learning or improvement? Anybody? Somebody?
The other two websites, they look pretty complete, so I might give it a look once I get home.
Yeah.
I use it for my own.
For your own, yeah, exactly. Because as teachers, we need to have like a solid grammar foundation, right? So we can just have like, good information to give to our students. So those pages are good. Of course, there are tons, but those two I like the most. They're very organized. All right, so let's move on. Thank you. Okay, so then how do you discuss then what we can do as teachers? Then we can go into what we can do for our learners. And one thing, if you have you taken methodology courses? Yes, raise your hand. Methodology courses in different language institutes. What is the first chapter about? Usually methodology. It's, no, nobody remembers. No, your philosophy of teaching. That's the first thing that they ask you. It's like, what is your philosophy of teaching? What do you think teaching is about? How does somebody learn a language? If you have to create your own program for learning the language, what would you do? Where would you go to? So you have to go to theory, right? What the experts say about learning a language. So one of the, let's say, the go-to, in my opinion, is the second language acquisition model. Have you heard of the second language acquisition model? Yes? Yes, you're familiar with that, second language acquisition. So it's learning any other language apart from your own. And the model we've created more or less has these stages that you can see in your handout. The first one being silent stage. Students receive the exposure, tons of exposure. You cannot expect much from them, so don't get too frustrated if that happens. And then we have in the basic early production, little by little emergence of speech, intermediate ability, and then the advanced fluency. So we as teachers, if we know this, we know that we cannot expect much, but we're supposed to, in these stages, do well. In the silent, the early production, in the emergence of the speech, what are we supposed to be doing? No? What can we do? So a person normally learns a language going through those stages. The first stage for any person going through, his or her learning will be silent stage. They are not really going to produce much. In the early production as well, it's very limited. So as teachers, if we have those learners that are just starting, we can any idea? We can encourage them, yes, we can motivate them, and this one where expose them. Have you heard that? Exposure. Give them like massive amounts of comprehensible input. Yes, comprehensible input, exactly. That's how we learn a language. We're receiving tons of information, our brain figures it out, and then is able to use it later on. So we can use technology in that respect, making sure our students receive tons of input, comprehensible input. And then of course we have to work on those skills, right? The vocabulary, and then their listening, and then their reading and their writing. So if you know this model as a teacher, and you know that you have to be worried about this part, exposing your learners. And so if technology is free, you have free resources, then why not just take the most advantage of it? Do anything you can in your power to give them tons. So more or less, Cameron says, if you have a child learning a foreign language, divide your lessons more or less into sections. Focus a lot on learning oral skills, and then later on the written language. So here is when technology helps us, as you mentioned, vocabulary, grammar, extended talk, and then writing as well. Speaking of tons of exposure, supposedly to reach the B2 level, we need about 4,000 words. According to the Common European Framework, 4,000 words to be considered B2 level students. So how are students going to learn 4,000 words? They need tons of input and practice. So the idea here is, of course, we know technology can help, but remember that we have to use it like a lot so that they can get to the level that is expected. Okay, so if we use this something like this for vocabulary, have you ever seen something like this on the internet? I think I mentioned something like that. You've used that. Many people, I don't know if you have done it, but many people use the study cards. No? They put the word on one side, meaning on the other, put it around in the room, yes, or have it in the pocket and go to study on the bus. Have you used that? Have you done that when you were learning the language? Use study cards? Yes. Okay. So normally when I studied back in the day, I used to have my study cards in my wallet, and I could have like 20 cards of vocabulary words like that were really new to me and like very complicated. But if you use technology, you can have how many study cards? Millions. Yeah, exactly. These apps hold big data. They hold massive amounts of information. So if you do that, if you substitute technology for your paper study cards, then you will be here, in the substitution level. Technology acts as a direct tool substitute with no functional or with at the augmentation level, I would say. Have you heard of the summer model? No? Mr. Puentedura, Rubén Puentedura, back in 2009, he put together this idea to help teachers, because many teachers were using tons of technology, but this is kind of like an outline that helps you see how you are using it. Sort of like a principled approach to using technology. So in the first part, which is the substitution, then the idea is that instead of doing the traditional paper activity, you go to technology, and there is no really much difference. So for example, how many of you like doing brainstorming activities with your students? You like doing brainstorming before speaking? Yes? Yes. You give them a piece of paper so that they can do a concept map or a mind map? Yes, you do that. Okay, so then maybe if you want to motivate your students, you can use something like Kaggle. Have you heard of Kaggle? Yes? Yes, it is, exactly. So let's just watch this quick video. Yes, it's for free. If you have a Google account, it's for free.
Hi, welcome to Kaggle. Kaggle is a great way to understand, organize, and share information on any topic with colleagues, classmates, or just on your own. Let's sign in and create a new diagram. Click the central item to edit the title. I'm going to use this diagram to plan an awesome new business idea. Use the plus buttons to add branches. You can add as many as you need. Click on text to edit it, or drag an item to move it around. The structure of the diagram helps to keep your ideas organized. Right-click on an item to open the context menu. Here you can change its color, remove it, and all sorts of other useful things. After you've added some items, try and invite someone to edit with you. You'll see their changes appear instantly as they make them. And you can discuss your project right here in the messages panel, making it really easy to work on anything together. Your diagrams are saved automatically. When you're done, click the Kaggle logo in the top left corner to go back to your home page, where you'll see everything you've created so far. Log in now to get started and find out what 8 million people have chosen Kaggle to organize their ideas.
Alrighty, so have you seen something similar before?
Pressing.
What? Frenzy?
Pressing.
Yes. Any other one? Frenzy is more for one person, huh? That wants to work and create a presentation. But this is for collaboration, so you can create with other people. And you can have the actual conversations live. Like you can connect with people and they can add information to your mind map. So together you can create it. So you've never seen something like that before? The first. Okay. So how can we use it? How can we use Kaggle then in our lessons? Do you think you have access to labs? You can use it in the lab, maybe? Have the students work on that together. You can have them show you this before they give the presentation. They can do that work on a discussion together and then show you the result of their discussion online. They don't need to print it. They can just show you on the internet. And they can have as many as you ask them to. If they are going to write something, they can also use that and show you their brainstorming process before writing as well. All right. So that will be in the substitution stage. And supposedly in the augmentation stage, we use technology as a direct tool, and there is a little bit of a functional improvement. And this is where we can use something like Quizlet, Kahoot, let's see. And I want to go to the recipe. So, how many of you have heard of Quizlets? Yes, you have heard. Very good. You use it, sir. You use Quizlets? Very good. So, okay, so anybody else has used Quizlets? Just one person? You have two people. Two people. You have used it. No. Okay. So let's just start. We're going to log in. You can log in with your Google account. I'm going to use my email address very quickly. Mail. My password. Okay, so what you can do in Quizlet is go to search. Okay, first of all, if you're looking for something, you don't need to create your study cards. You can find something there. So, for example, let me ask, who is next to Marco? What's her name? Estrellita, can you tell us what area or what topics, grammar points you would like to, find some information or some exercises? Some study cards? Grammar, for example. Okay, what point? What grammar point? Simple present, simple past, present continuous, past simple. Okay, let's just put simple past here, or past simple. Let's see what comes out. Okay, simple past. So I have one for simple present, and there are many for simple past. Simple past, past simple, simple past simple. Okay, so this is a little bit long. Let's go to the first one. Oops, here. Sorry, first. Okay, the first one has 92 terms. 92 terms. And if you look, it has a little higher vocabulary, if I'm not mistaken. It has abandon, able. So I'm not going to use that for my learners. So a little too advanced. Let's say the next one, 15 terms. It says when, what, didn't go. Do you think that's better? Yeah. For basic learners? Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to click on that one. Violet created that one. I'm going to click there. And okay. So she has yesterday I space to the seaside, and then the card is went. So I'm going to put a little, I'm going to click on the star. I'm just going to go through the star. Do you think the second one is good? My father, a great teacher? Yes. I can choose that one. Pass. The next one is good too. Students like it. Next one. Okay, let's say I choose 4. My students are just very beginners. I'm just going to choose 4. Then I'm going to go to all the 4 that I've selected. And then I'm going to go to flashcards.
Yesterday I went to the seaside.
Okay, and then I'm going to click to flip, and then, so the idea is that the students see the prompt. In this case, for example,
My father is a great teacher.
they see that, and they have to think, what is the answer? Was. And they click, and they flip it, and then they see their answer was correct. So this is just for revision. Okay, this is just for revision. But if they want to, they can play. And let me just go back to show you all the tasks that they can do. They can write these words that you have just taught them, or they can spell them, they can practice a test, a match, or gravity, and something like. This is for the interaction. The matching is interesting. My students like the matching because it's with time. It's like a little game. And then what you do is like you have to quickly match them. For example, went and then they disappeared. Didn't go, maybe this one here, they disappeared. Watched, but this one disappears, and then of course this one disappeared. And it says, grade start 14 seconds, 1 person. But then your students can do that in their own time. So how can you integrate it in your classes? Then what you will have to do is, just like any other web page for practicing, you will have to create a class. No? In Blackboard, you use Blackboard, some of you? No? Well, yes, in Blackboard, you have your own courses there. No? You have the list of your students. So here you can do something similar. You go to this icon here, and that will help you add your, in this case, I have this class created just for example, which is A1, A2. And then I go to the home page, and I can see my class here. And this will be all the exercises I prepared for my class. And here I can add the members. So if you want, you can put the email addresses of your students directly, or you can send the invitations. And if you send the invitations, they will allow you to, you can also share the link to your students if you want. So this is my experience with Quizlets, and I use it with my learners. They like it because they can study on their own and practice specific grammar points. And what is your name, sir? Jack. So tell us your experience. How do you use Quizlets in your lesson?
Actually, it's very similar to the way that we use them. Indeed, it is very rewarding for the students to know that they are, to notice that they are doing well in their exercises. And it doesn't take much time, a lot of effort from them because it's
Like a game. Exactly. Yes, and they can actually get hooked because they see it like a game. And if you create a class, you can see how many students are working on it, who is not working on it, who has not done the homework, and then you can do like a one-on-one help, approach that student and ask him, okay, what's going on? Maybe he doesn't have internet access, that could be one thing. But if you have a lab, or if you have in the school, maybe you can take him and help him get started. And once, if he's young, if he gets started, yes, I'm sure he's going to get hooked as well in this. And what is interesting, later on, students find their own. They look for their own study cards. And I tell my students, what is something that you want to practice? And they say, for example, vocabulary about social problems. So we can put social problems, for example. And they find their own, and you can teach them how to create their own study cards just by choosing what they want to practice. And in that case, also we're fostering autonomy, autonomous learning. So you think you will give this a go? Yes. Okay. So one more before the break. Okay, just one more before you look a little hungry today. Okay. So the last one that I'll show you before the break in the augmentation level is to use quizzes, which is the same as Kahoot. Have you used quizzes? Quizzes. The pen and paper quizzes, yes. No, you have used that one. Yeah. And then we're going to use the one that's online that is substitute. So, John, have you used that? Have you used it? No. Okay. So let's see. How can we use it? Yes. Oh, great. I can tell you. Okay, so it's very similar to Quizlets in the sense that you log in, creating your Google, with your Google account. So one more time, I click on Google, and okay, so this is open. Yeah, that's so nice. It opens quickly. So I'm going to go to English, and I'm going to search for quizzes. So let's choose another person. Let's see, for example, person next to Jocelyn. Jocelyn, what's the name of your friend? Elena? Irene, tell us, what area, what thing would you like to find in quizzes? How would you like to help your learners? With prepositions, with grammar points, prepositions and phrases. So let's see, prepositions. Okay, prepositions of place. We have, what is interesting about this one is that gives you the rates. It gives you, for example, this one play 1,450 times. 600. So this one might be very popular. Huh? Let's click on this one. If it's being played so much. Let's go here. Okay. So let's see. How many questions do we have? We have the baggies. The elephant poster is. Do you think it's okay? You're in it? You can use it? Is it easy enough?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. So, yeah, okay. So the good thing is that we don't need to create the exercise. It's going to save us some time. So we're just going to duplicate. In this case, you can do that. It's allowed to duplicate. No problem. So you duplicate, and yes, you don't need to have any conscious problems in this case. Yes. Okay, so once you duplicate, then you go to edit. Okay? Edit. Okay, and so here you will see the answers of the quiz, and you can double check if the answers are okay. So the first one is okay, the bag is, da, da, da. You can see the picture, no? So let's see, let's just do, eliminate some, so because it's very long, we're going to eliminate this one here. Delete this one, delete this one. Are you late? Okay, so let's say that I like the other ones. They're, good for my learners. I look at them and I say, okay, my quiz is ready, finished quiz. Okay, so then we can play it live. Then let's see what it is like to play it live. My students are going to have shuffle questions. They are going to see the answers. They are going to hear a review. There is going to be a timer. There's going to be some memes, and there's going to be some music as well. And that's it. So let's proceed. Okay, so it's similar to Kahoot. Okay. Yes. Okay, so I give you this link and then the code. So volunteers who would like to practice to see if this works, to see if actually this technology is reliable, or it's useful. So volunteer who would like to join with their data. Do you have enough data on your phone to open and to practice? Yes? Would you like to give it a try? Okay. So, wait a moment. So we're going to log in. Join.quizzes.com. Join.quizzes.com. Yes? Okay. Got it. Joining. Okay, so then you receive this, enter the 6-digit code. Yes?
Yeah.
Yes, you got it. Yes, you got it? Yay. Very good. You just realized you have these calls, tons of messages on your WhatsApp. Receive the temptation. Let's go straight to quizzes. Yes. It's join.quizzes. Oh, great. Someone just joined. Now, MKWA. 3 participants. That's it? Nobody else? And one more. Jad. Whoa. Beryl. Noelia. And Marco. And Ricarda, Erica. Yes. Anybody else wants to join? One more person? No, no more. That's it. Okay. So we have 9 participants. Yes, ready to start. Okay. Yes. Have you registered? Okay, what did they say? Are you going to share the frequency? Okay. Yes, you can put in yes. So you can enter join.quizzes.net.com, sorry, and then enter the 6-digit code 150046. 150046. Yes. Okay, great. So let's start. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Everybody proceed. 5. Yes. 3, 1, and go. Okay, so you can start answering. So Nat is answering. She's winning. What happened to A? Jack. What happened to Jack? Out here, Vero. Very good. Vero. Very good. A. Very good. Noelia. Very good. Jack. Shirley. Ooh, Marco. Oh, Noelia. And then Carla. A. Yes, go, guys. Yes, it's going well. Yes. Marco, one more time. Woo-hoo. Little excited to Marco. Vero, very good, Vero. And what happened to letter A? Who's A? A. No, you can't. A. Oh, it doesn't work? Doesn't work. In some cell phones, in my customer didn't work. Some series. It's too fast. Okay, so it should be maybe more time. You can change the time per question. In this case, it was 30 seconds, but if you want, you can give it 45 seconds or 1 minute. Yeah, per question. Who's going? Noelia. Woohoo, Noelia. Wow, Noelia. There's a question. Yes, honey. Okay. Oh, very good, Noelia. MKW and Vero. Vero, Marco. Oh, come on, Vero. Oh. Marco, Dad, it's coming. Oh, Shirley's coming strongly. Marco, yeah, very good. But there is still some people working, so we have to wait until everybody's done. 66, 67. So what is interesting is that it is telling you live the level of accuracy in your answers. So because this is a game, then you might want to do it again because the students need to probably adjust to the dynamics of the game first. No? But it's a good idea to adjust the time per question, as you mentioned, because this might be too fast. So let's just wait a little bit until it finishes, and then I can show you how this tool shows you the results. And as many of you know, our students are competitive. And so when they see the results and they see who is winning, they get hooked. They are thinking in English and they want to win. So that's a good combination. Thinking in English, using the vocabulary and their knowledge. And they are relaxed. They are at ease. So that's also great for acquisition. And I think we are done. 70. Oh, no, it's still 78, 7. And one more. Okay, I think that's. We can create our exercise. Yes, of course. I use the duplicate, like you saw, but you can also create your own and more personalized to what you're working on in your material. That's true. Yeah. So because sometimes we have to work with our book. Yes. Yeah, that's true. Many cases, what I do is I check the exercises carefully, and when I edit them, then I choose the ones that are closer to what I thought. So then that's something your students are not going to be confused or something like that. So let's end the game. Sorry, guys. Let's just end the game for now. And I want to end the game. And then we have first place, fourth place, third place Miriam, second place Marco, first Vera. Woohoo! Yay! There is a winner. Yes. So this is the highlights. What is the level of accuracy, more or less? Around 80%. 4 out of 13 players had problem with the second question. And then it says the longest question was the second one. It took 11 seconds. And the average time taken per question was 7 seconds. So it was good, even though if you you said it was fast, and you took very little time. And finally, you can see the scores and the answers per item. Now this probably shows you these ones were the ones that most people got wrong. You can share this with your students and tell, let's try one more time. This time, let's not make mistakes. So focus on that hard question, and you can review the questions, of course. So, would you like to use this in your classes? Yes. So, grammar and also for vocabulary. You could use for both. Yes. In the game. So, so we can take a short break and then continue. There's a couple more tools that we can look at. You ready for a break? Yes. Yes. Let's mingle. We can go and we can continue talking about our experiences with technology and some hobbies. Thank you. So let's take a short break. Yes. Okay. Yes. Yes, it's very new. I know. Yeah, that's true. Your stuff with technology. Oh, I'm sorry. But it's a cell phone.
I love the internet.
Oh, the data. Oh, your data. Maybe if I talk to him like this, hi, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? Oh, great, very good. That's nice. Technology is not failing us. Hi, Andres. Hi, Tiffany. Hi, Nelly. Hi, Mary. Okay, so what we did, guys, we worked on the exam on the web page called quizzes. No? Okay. Yes, I know, Wendy, you're right. So what we're going, yes, the support person, I think, okay, the support person tried to help us, but she didn't, she sometimes has a little, yes. Okay, they asked for a code, so I'm going to create another game for you. The questions, yes, you're right, to type the questions. So first I'm going to create another code so that you can play the game, okay, and you can see it. So wait a second, I'm going to go the other way. So here. So have you used something similar to this before?
What's that?
Have you used something similar to this before?
No, I teach kindergarten.
Okay. So could you use something like this?
Yeah, I use some stuff, but I wanted to come tonight to learn about some new sites because I need to use more sites and more material because I have a smart board in my classroom. So we have tablets and smart TVs.
So
I use everything in my program.
Everything that you can. Yes. Yeah.
I also have a program with my book, but I have to incorporate the other stuff. And it works, because you reach out to the other kids, because some kids are audio, some kids are visual, some kids they need to touch. So it's if you get to all those kind of learners, and it's really good.
So what ages we're talking about is like 5, 6?
Yeah.
5, 6.
Yeah.
So
It's good, but also in my school it's too much technology because the kids are, it's really
overstimulated.
not even that, like I have to use a book, but it's really hard to get them to use a book. Like I have to do a book. No, it's boring now. Today, it's boring because they have the cell phone in the house, tablet in the house, computer, TV,
Yes, you're
And
right.
everything is like technology now, so I need, like in my school, it's really necessary to use technology because the kids, they all have cell phones, and
So
so
something like this,
for me,
do you think they might engage in this game?
yeah, I could probably make vocabulary.
I saw a video on YouTube, and the teacher mentioned that she used it with her first graders. And they were talking about
Yeah.
7G, so she might be able to use that.
Yeah, because they're reading,
Yeah.
they're doing phonics and things like that, so they can make 3-letter words or 4-letter words.
Yeah.
So they can read, so they can do the vocabulary. Yeah.
Great. So one second, sorry. So guys, could you go type this code 348287? Okay, for the first step to create an account, when you go to quizzes, you can connect with your Google account. Quizzes automatically connects you with your Google account. So with your Google account, you can create a profile in Quizzes. And so once you create a profile, you go to search, and in search, you will be able to type in anything that you are looking for. Like, for example, in this particular case, we worked with prepositions of place because one teacher mentioned she wanted to have her students practice prepositions. So you can type in prepositions in search, and it will give you tons of quizzes that have been used by other teachers, and then you can choose them. You can choose one that you find useful. So after you go to search, oh great, Claudia, Erica, Wendy, they're good. So once you go to search and you find the quizzes, then you have to go to duplicate. Once you duplicate, you can edit the quiz and eliminate any question that you notice might not be so good because maybe you haven't taught or the vocabulary is too high. Usually I choose 5 or 6 questions, so you could do that. And then you click on finish quiz. And once the quiz is finished, you can customize the quiz. And you can add music to it, you can add memes to it, you can add different things to it. Also, you can customize the time if you wanted to have. Thank you. And yes, go to duplicate. So then after you do that, you can click on proceed, and it will give you a code. You will get a code. And then once you get a code, then you share that code with your students, and they start connecting to the game, to the quiz, and they can start playing it live with you all, and you can see the results. So for example, now we have Wendy, Erica, Claudia, and Rocio connected, and I'm going to click on start so they can start the game. It's a nice, right? Refreshing. It's really cold outside, no? It's getting colder and colder. It's nice. When you're walking through those stairs, like that little alley, it's so windy. You open the door, like when you come onto the 13th and then open the door to go through the stairs, it's like so windy. The wind just hits you. Yes, honey. Well, my experience with that, with thesis, is that if you want to do it, if you want to do a correlational study with communication, it's really hard because you have to quantify it. It's really hard to quantify it unless you sit down and you transcribe what your students saying, you're recording, and then you do, the pre-test, the pre-test, you record them, and then the post and record them, you have to type them. So I would say the idea that you have is great, but don't include communication as the end result. But maybe something like a proficiency test. Like, so one way that you can tell the student's proficiency is that he gets at each level. And that involves speaking, reading, listening, writing. So you can use the tips to help the student get ready for an E1 exam test. Or, say a little test, FCE. Something going to be like the name. The project could be the same, only that at the end, instead of you're going to do to improve, but it's not. It could be cooperative, yes, because there are things that students can do cooperatively with the technology, and it's going to help them to learn. For example, that's great. So if they were creating something like a project, they have to use all their abilities, listening, reading, writing, and speaking. So all the skills are being used for this project-based learning. So if you do project-based learning with the idea that they, at the end, can reach that result. Yes, they draw skills. Well, what my experience tells me is that it's easier to show results with numbers. In tests, you can show numbers. But with the speaking ability, it's really hard to measure. Unless you sit down, having to do with them, transcribe the interviews, and then pay attention to language. You have to tailor your study what features of language you're going to focus on to see improvement. So when I did my own research, I found that one of the things I couldn't do was measure. You can, and you will see studies, but it's very long. They transcribe the whole interview. They show you it's amazing. It's like very long. It's a nightmare to calculate. So I would recommend you to do that. Yes, I would recommend to use 2 or 3 that you think are that help you in different areas. For example, Parkour is great because it involves collaboration and you can see the end results as a teacher. You see that. So that would be one. And another one would be to use, if you're doing project-based learning and motor with Podcast because it's a repository. You use programs to learn parts. They can do access control. Yes, that's one. So, but I use this because I upload everything. I upload everything. They go in their practice and then they see the question they need to complete the control. And then probably get together with the discussion and share. Also, in the motor, you can create this chat. They can prepare for the presentation. But this one is more like writing. And then studying speaking when they have to present. So this will be the way the first step. We are going to get it together with so they have to come up with their. I can say like here like substitution annotation, so I can read the definition. Yeah, the definition actually is when we're not going to do this in this session, but the next one, because this is supposed to be when we completely change the learning experience. And it says here, you take a lot of the creation of something that previously never happened. So this is when we go really beyond the use of technology. So normally, I have gotten up to notifications. Because this will evolve really controlled. If you keep on learning about it, you will find examples of why. We teachers provide great examples of what they have done. For example, one teacher in Moto, she created an open chat with a teacher from Europe, and her learners found students in Europe that were learning Spanish, so they connected. And the project was how much the students learned from the people in Europe. And she was really successful at using this. And so that was nobody ever had done something like that. Yeah, but there's lots of reasons. It's overwhelming. Yes. Alrighty, so welcome back after your break. Very good. Yes, great guys. Way to go. Way to go. So, do you think you could use it in your lessons? Yes? Yes, it's a great fun exercise. You can use it in your lessons. Okay, so let's resume. Yes, there we go. So let's resume the talk, and I'll be on the other side, guys. Okay, guys. Good. So we're back from our coffee break. We have some. What did you do? No, it's okay. Afterwards. So we have 15 more minutes. Yes. 15. Okay. 15 more minutes. Okay. Alrighty, guys. So welcome back, and we are at the augmentation level. Technology substitutes what we normally were doing pen and paper and adds a functional improvement, which is, for example, in this case, you have the results. You can see which particular kind of question was difficult. You can have the students look at it again. They can work together to discuss why they got it wrong so much. And then maybe you can do further exercise on that. It helps you as a teacher and also them as learners to be more analytical. All right, so in the next part, then the modification level is when technology allows for significant task redesign. So what happens normally in your lessons? You come in and you say, "Hi," put the objectives on the board, and you start talking to your learners, right? So you want to have teacher-centered or student-centered lessons? Student-centered. But what happens if you have to do a grammar explanation? Who does most of the talking? The teacher. What happens if you have to explain the project? The teacher. Yeah. What happens if you have to give examples of vocabulary? The teacher. So then that increases your TCC, right? So at this level, at the modification level, technology has actually transformed the dynamics and kind of elevated or bring up the students' TCC. And one clear example is the flipped classroom. Have you heard of the flipped classroom? Yes. Okay. So believe it or not, this is it's becoming more popular in our country, but it started in 2008 in the United States. It completely changed tons of schools around the world. Because what was happening is the students were no longer in front of the teacher in the classroom. They were in their houses watching the teacher explain and doing exercises at home, so that in the classroom, what could happen? So the flipped classroom allows the students to look at the teacher with their TTT explaining something in their own time in the house, so that when they go to class, what could happen?
They go over the
exactly, go over. Yes, exactly. Go over the answers, for example, or go over the information that teacher presented through the video, and then there is more chance for speaking, for practicing the lesson. So more or less, it looks like this. So before, it was like this. No, the students read materials, then the students listened to the lecture, and then maybe they attempted to do homework afterwards. But with the flipped classroom, the students complete the interactive learning with the video at home. In the class, they participate more, and they talk. They have more interaction with the teacher as well, and communicative activities. And finally, they can complete tasks in pairs or in groups based on the information. So one of the things that the flipped classroom has allowed is to have the implementation of Bloom's taxonomy. You remember Bloom's taxonomy? Yes? So look, taxonomy tells us that we want to create critical thinking, exactly. But at the bottom, here, well, in this case, they flipped it. So we need to have remembering and understanding. Those are the first of the bottom. That's very important, so that we can move on to applying and analyzing. So the flipped classroom allows teachers to help the students remembering and understanding information through videos, using videos that can be completed in the students' own time. So, have you tried creating your own videos to explain grammar to your students? Nobody. Nobody ever. No? Okay. Have you? It takes time. Yes. It takes time. You're right. Okay. So I have started doing that just the last, because I teach online, I do that. So I use Zoom. Have you heard of Zoom? No? Zoom. Okay. So Zoom, it's like Adobe Connect. Have you heard of Adobe Connect? Yes, it's like that. So it allows the students to connect with you, and you can teach them like a webinar. No? But, yes, like a webinar. But the interesting thing of Zoom is that you can record yourself. So let's see if I can show you. So that's me, my laptop, and a little board. And so how many minutes? 3 minutes. It's a short grammar explanation and tag questions. The students watch my video in the house, which is what I created a short explanation. I know my learners. I know one is German and another one speaks Spanish, so I can give quick examples of what they need, and then I send them the video, and they do a quick exercise online using EnglishClub.com. So when we go to the class and we connect and we are together, they quickly go on to another exercise that I can check if they really understood. And then finally we go into role plays. And they engage in simulation and different situations so they can use different tag questions. That's the idea. So do you think it will be too much time to use something like that? To prepare your own videos? Maybe? No? Your computer camera, your laptop, and you're using Zoom. You can download Zoom and prepare your own video. So if you don't want to do that, maybe because of time, you can go to Edpuzzle. Have you heard of Edpuzzle? No, Edpuzzle. Oh, no, okay. Edpuzzle, okay. So let's just do one quick example of Edpuzzle, and next session hopefully we'll be able to do. I'm afraid the time is going to be against us today. Okay, so have you used YouTube videos to help your students with grammar explanations? Yes, you have used YouTube videos. Okay, so I am going to log in as a teacher with my Google account. Yes, or my so let's imagine it's Google. Okay, great. Okay, so then we're going to go to search one more time. Search. And here you see all the places where you can access the videos. So we have YouTube, Khan Academy, National Geographic Tech Talks, and Crash Courses. So since YouTube is the one our students are the most familiarized with, you can go to YouTube. And let's say we put one more time simple past. Simple past. Okay, and you look at the videos and you say, okay, well, these videos are a little bit advanced. I need a simple one because I want my students to know the structure. And I find this one here, look. I want to use it because it shows the structure. And my students can focus on the structure first, and then the form first, and then the meaning maybe later, and then the use.
TV.
So you see, let's just to speed things up a little bit. Let's say you choose this one. You say, okay, I want to use it. Okay, and the video starts playing.
TV.
Okay, so let me just show you the end product. Okay, I'll show you one method. So let's say we are here, for example, in this part. There is an interesting part of the video that I want my students to focus on, and I click on question. Put question here. This is going to allow me to create an open-ended question or a multiple choice question. So I like multiple choice because it automatically helps me choose one that's correct. My students are going to see. So let's say I want to ask them, what is the correct structure? Oh, sorry, my type is this. Structure of simple, let's say simple past. Okay, would you use that question or you think it's too technical? What is the correct structure of simple past? Another one could be, what is the order, the form? What is the form of the simple past? And so here you put the correct answer, subject, verb in past, object, and then here you put the incorrect. So just by watching the video, they answer the question, just by looking. So it's sort of like listening comprehension or reading comprehension at first. So let me show you the end product. At the end, after you put the question here, let's say you put save. It's not gonna let me. So let's just put subject, verb, and objects. Okay, just to do a little fast, show you. Just going to copy this. Okay. So I click on save, and then I click on continue, and the video will go on, and I can find another section in which I can ask my students a question to focus on the form. I finish the quiz, and then I can add it to my class. I can assign it, and it will give me a link. So if you don't have a class here, if you haven't created a class, you can just use a link and send your students a link so that they can watch it at home and do homework. This as homework. So let me show you this one here. This is what the students are going to see. They're going to see the video.
Past simple. How do we form the past simple? Affirmative. Subject. Past. Verb in past tense. Past. Object. We ate some lovely pizzas last night.
Okay, and then there is the past tense. Is the past tense form with subject, verb, object, subject, verb in past tense plus object. So this will be the correct answer. Verb in past tense plus subject. I submit, and that's correct. So then I can continue, and the students will go like that on their along the video. They watch the video and then check the questions and answer the questions. So this could be used at what level do you think you could use these videos? Basic, intermediate, because they might be, the questions might be a little high for students that are very basic level. So if this is in your content, you can see also your students' progress. And you could also find videos that have been created by other teachers. No? Like, I have videos of simple past and different tenses. Many students like it because they get instant responses, instant feedback, and it helps them focus on one particular grammar exercise. So that would be a puzzle. And puzzle. We are here. Okay, so the idea of using a puzzle, of using the Learnia, or using your own videos, is that you can free up some time for you to engage your student in more communicative activities. In higher levels, you can allow students to watch a video, help them focus on one particular form, do what we call a meaningful focus on form activity, or a restricted output activity, and then go with you in the lesson and engage in more communicative practice. Alrighty, so I think there's not enough time, but there is one more you can use. And of course, some of you mentioned vocabulary, right? Pages like vocabulary, VOA, the Voice of America, or ESL Cyber Listening Lab, or National Geographic Reading, and ESL Lounge, great pages for work and skills. So if you don't want to focus on grammar, but you want to work on reading, and then in your class discuss the reading, they shouldn't be using their reading time in the class. They can do it in their in their own time at home, get feedback from the questions that the web pages give them, and then in class have discussions, have role plays, debates, and it could be 20 or 30 minutes sometimes that you can get more if you do this. Yes. So any question up to here? Any questions? Something that maybe wasn't too clear? What? It's too much? So overwhelming. Okay, so I would like to hear your feedback then. Up to here, which one of these technological tools do you think seems like you can use it? Seems very useful. Edpuzzle. Okay, seems really good. Any other one? Cool. Puzzle. Yes, for the mind mapping together. Any other one? Quizzes for the game. Any other one? Zoom for your videos. You can give it a try. You can experiment with your hairstyle and see which one is better. I had to do that many times because you don't really know what you look like until you see a certain video, right? Yeah. It's so embarrassing. Anyway, so in the paper in the back, you have to complete the chart with your opinions about yes, the other web pages that we have seen. We have seen quizzes, we have seen Edpuzzle, up to Edpuzzle. So the next session will focus on the other ones. No? We have to complete the motto, write well, Bookopolis for the book lovers. If there are any book lovers, and the Khan Academy. Have you heard of the Khan Academy? Yes. Okay, Khan Academy. Very good. So this could be a good homework activity for you as well. If you have some time, research a little bit about these technologies that we'll be doing next session, so you can bring fresh ideas. And what will be interesting to see is how you can, get started, how you can implement in your lessons, and maybe you will discover, like I did, other apps, other websites, and your students will tell you what else you can do because they can teach you too. It's funny. When you teach them one website, they come out with like one better and or more innovative. But so up to here, then we can finish with the last survey. I think there was one more survey that we'd like you to answer. Moniquita, do you have that? Oh, I have it. No, sorry. One more survey. So let's just, you remember these? Oh yes, those. So in this survey, the last survey, I would like you to give us some input about today's talk, and also give us some ideas what other topics might interest you that we could work on in this presentation. so that it can empower you in your teaching. So, and then we'll have the wrap. There you go. Yes, honey.
How are you?
Thank you. That's you. I'm sorry. All right. Great. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, and do it for the record.
Yeah, as soon as I don't have the certificate.
Yes, very much. And you came to yours. Okay. Yes, it's enough.
Oh, can I?
Yes, yes. Anybody else need to find the first survey? So she said like, yeah. Good.
All right, so while some of you are completing the survey, once again, I would like to thank you for being here. It's very late, yes, but teachers are always eager to learn. We are lifelong learners. That's what drives us, right? Keeping on learning so that we can help our students learn or achieve, as in the case of English, the communicative goals of the course that you're teaching. I wanted to share some information with you that has been mentioned before in previous sessions that is very relevant to this session. The stats about teaching English in Peru say that, for example, in the case of public schools, at least 2,000 teachers are needed to be hired every year. And we are only talking about public schools. The number grows for private schools. Then we also have universities, colleges that require teachers of English with a master's degree, as the law requires now, the law indicates. Teachers in language centers. We know that there are many language centers in the country, not only in Lima, and they need a lot of teachers, and they hire many teachers every month, especially in the summers. We as professionals of the language are also citizens of the world, and we would like that philosophy to be embraced by our students. English is going to change their lives. It's going to make them be more empathetic with other cultures, yes, and probably appreciate and love theirs even more. So we are not only teaching a language, we're teaching them to grow and become citizens of the world, people without barriers, to understand people from other cultures, to travel around the world without having somebody as an interpreter to help them. Yes, and by that their lives will be even richer and more enjoyable. Teachers of English need two things. They need to master the language and they need to have papers or certificates that prove that they know the language internationally. For that we have international certifications. And also papers that say that they know how to teach the language. Those are the teachers that can shine or have more opportunities to grow in the market. Yes? The market of teachers of English is, or the market of teaching English is flourishing, not only improved, but everywhere. Yes? Technology is an ally, and that's the philosophy that we embrace here. We are very happy to have Diana as the teacher of the technology module of our program. As you can see, she has a lot to share. There was a question during the break if the modules could be taken or if you could register for the modules of the program individually. And the answer is yes. Maybe you don't have the time to take the 6 months, but you would like to take the module with Diana, for example, or you would like to take the module of Foundations of Education. If you can take a look at the program, our contact numbers are there. And we will be very happy to have you here in case you want to expand your experience with us aside from the conferences. I don't know if you have seen the law. In 2014, with the previous Minister of Education, Saavedra, there was a law it is called Inglés Puertas al Mundo, and it says that by 2021, Peru has to be a bilingual country. They have now, the idea was very optimistic at that time, in 2014. It was very ambitious. It was, some people say naive. Some studies say that we might need at least 30 years as Chile or Colombia or Costa Rica to get to that goal. They have lowered their ambitious goal, and now they say that maybe 60% by 2021. How far or how close do you think we are to that goal?
60% of our population being bilingual by 2021 in 3 years. Not a chance.
Not a chance.
But we are there, and you being here is the proof that we want to help in that aim. Yes. The classroom needs to reflect reality. So one thing that we mention a lot in our classes and here in the conferences is that technology cannot be banned. We didn't learn English the way students or learners are studying now. It was different, right? At least in my times. Yes, I look very young, but but I learned English in 1994, 95, and in those times, I guess it was the beginning of the internet, we didn't have an email address, and times have changed. So we need to embrace technology and make it an ally and use it effectively so that our students can achieve the goals that you plan for every session or for the curricula in your schools. Well, I have already mentioned that Diana is a fine teacher and that we're very happy to have her here, and we're going to have her for the second session about technology, and that's why we have this little bag here for the raffle. 2 of you are going to come for free. I hope you can join us, and I hope this, when is it? I mentioned in the beginning, the 28th, right? In June. So I hope you have free that day in case you're the winner of the raffle. Yes? Okay, so just to finish, I would like to say that we need to embrace change. And we're using technology in the classroom, but we are also learners. we are learning how to use it. Yes, and we have seen, I am amazed at all the things that you have shown today, Diana, and I'm sure that there are other apps or sites that you're using that you would like to share that day. Yes, so we're gonna let you know how the organization of the next session is going to be, and there is something very important that we also say a lot. Teachers of English are the pioneers of this educational revolution because you are doing things that right now other subjects or other areas teachers are doing. Like, for example, critical thinking, creative thinking, panel discussions, group work, pair work. I have studied with principals and promotores that you call from different schools, and when the teachers say, let the students work in pairs, teachers of other subjects are like, no, because the students are going to make noise. Or when they refer to projects as an innovation for teaching something, we are experts on projects. We are experts on making people talk. So education is going in that way. It's going to be focused in the future in making people be citizens that behave in a civilized way and that know how to think critically and creatively. Yes. So we hope to see you at the next session, and we're going to ask Diana to take the numbers. Give me a sec because I need the list. All of you have a number. Okay.
And the winner is, maybe we can have 4 winners. That'll be next. Maybe next time.
So as you see, all of you have a number. They're in alphabetical order.
Okay.
So you take the number and I'll tell you who you are. Please be here on time for the next session. And
So the
very
first one
we
is,
also hope to see you here next time.
bring a friend. And then the next winner is 20. Goes by last name.
Okay, it's Karen Parra.
Yay! Yes, book that and save the date for us. And so this one goes to 27.
Oh, okay.
27 is,
Here you are, 27. Jack Vidal Delgado.
yay!
Oh,
Welcome.
Okay, thank you very much for being here. We're going to send a certificate online, and we're going to send an activity to add 3 extra pedagogical hours to your certificates in case you complete with that class. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. You're still there.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Nice meeting you.
Thank you.
Bye. Yes. Bye-bye, guys. I'm sorry we didn't have much interaction, but yes, thank you very much for being present. Any questions, you can send us emails. So, yes, we'll be connected that way. Bye-bye. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you.